and just get it out there to the universe. Write it down, get it to the universe, and
show
let
it.
people help you.
Right?
I
Like you
truly
said.
believe. I always do it. I think it's stupid. But look, I'm a guy who said I want to meet the Dalai Lama. I want to go to Necker Island and hang out with Richard
And you
Branson.
did it.
I want to meet all the living Beatles, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, everything I've ever wanted to do, I've been able to do because I wrote it down, showed it to the universe, and then I used energy and molded it like clay to make it happen. I mean, look, Richard.
Welcome to the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, today we have an incredible guest, which I'm very excited to talk to and get to learn from and get to connect with. And before I introduce him to you, though, this is going to be cool. I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving comments, reviews, and likes on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you for a small favor today. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, some type of information, a skill, or the inspiration to go out and take action and make some progress towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with one friend, since this is how we grow. This is how we're able to share our message to motivate, inspire, and bless other men out there to change their lives. And today I have Craig Handley, and he's hard to describe, but let me try. All right. He's an author of the best-selling book called Hired to Quit. He's a musician who expects to write music for artists all over the world. He's a bit of a comedian who has done stand-up on Broadway in New York City. He also moonlights as CEO of his company, Listen Trust, which was named #1 in business product and services, 27 overall on Inc. magazine 500 list, where they do about $150 million in sales for their clients and answer hundreds of thousands of sales calls and lead generation calls and employs close to 1,000 awesome people. He has caged dived with great white sharks, rappelled down to down table mountains in South Africa, driven to Baja 500 trail in Mexico, hiked through the jungles of Malaysia, and in Iceland, he's snowmobiled across a live volcano. Swam in the blue lagoon, dove in the famed Seafra Fisher. I'm pretty bad at reading, but he's done a bunch of amazing stuff. It's
funny that you're trying to describe it all. I'm like, maybe I should cut that intro some.
Yeah, so he's also the 85th civilian in the world to jump out of a plane from over 32,000 feet. And you get the point. Also, he serves 5 years. He served 5 years in the U.S. Army Infantry during the first Iraq War, living with an honorable discharge. So thank you for your service, man. And pretty awesome guy. So Craig, thank you very much for being here, man. Thank you for making some time, and you are welcome, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I don't think, hopefully everybody's gotten the chance to hear your own story before we got on this podcast. You know, Alex was kind enough to share his own story, and I'm inspired by his story. So it's great to be able to be part of inspiring others with Alex.
Thanks, Craig. So Craig, the first thing that I do with my guest is I tell them to walk me through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Started as a paper boy, did door-to-door sales as a paper boy, won a bunch of contests. As I got older in college, I got accepted to Berkeley and Juilliard, both great music or acting schools.
Damn.
Couldn't afford either because I was not well off. I joined the Army to pay for college. It wasn't enough for Berkeley or Juilliard, but it was $750 a month that I used to pay my rent while I studied music for a few years at a small college. And I just didn't want to be a school teacher. And that's kind of what a lot of music schools are setting you up for with sightseeing and ear training and all these crazy classes that they weren't directing me towards becoming a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a friend who said, "You're good at the gift of gab. Why don't you try sales?" And I sold insurance door to door for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And I got really good at sales and reading body language and the psychology of sales. And I was trying to open the state of New Hampshire for a big insurance company for Aflac with the duck.
Okay.
It started out okay, and it looked like it was going to happen, but you had to meet with the fire department's union, the police department union, the teachers' unions, and 6 months into it, I ran out of money and ended up in a call center, taking a call center job. It was all inbound calls. So it was kind of like all of a sudden, I had all these prospects calling me, and I was in this call center. Out of over 1,000 people, I was the third best salesperson in the company as far as revenue goes. And I was in the top of close rate and all the other statistics. So I started writing my own phone scripts based on my own phone recordings. And other people were using my scripts, and it helped improve their results. So I became a copywriter for phone scripts. And then when I train on my phone scripts, it would raise the level even better. So I started training. I took it away from the one call center I was working with and became an entrepreneur, training other centers. And at some point, I just opened my own call center. I said, why wouldn't I? And as I did, it grew from 0 to 1,000 people in under 3 years. We went from 0 to being able to sell over 150 million in sales for our clients. And so we made Inc. 500's fastest growing private companies. And I've owned the call center for 14 years. During that time, I've developed amazing culture within the business, which inspired me to write the book Hired to Quit. We started training all of our employees to quit, which was kind of cool. And we've built an amazing culture in Hermosillo, Mexico, which is not far from where you are now. I think we're about 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours away from you.
Yeah.
And did a lot of good for our employees here. And my employees, after I wrote that book, actually inspired me to quit and live my dream of writing music. So I've been writing a lot of music over the last couple of years. And I actually, by accident, while trying to brand myself, built a marketing company called Social Close, which is now approaching $2 million. And I've also become the CMO of a TV and film company called Branded Entertainment, and the chief marketing officer of a platform called View It, while I'm doing all these other things. So that's my brief. I don't think that was 75 seconds. It might have been 2 minutes, but I wasn't sure how to get it all in. That was about as quick as I could tell my story. And I've left out all the ups and downs, the turnarounds, the times when I thought I was going to go out of business and I saved it. And, there's a lot of stories within that story, but that's kind of the brief, I guess, 2.5 minute version of how I got there.
No, that was great, man. Yeah. wait. You're actually the first person who just breaks the rule and just tells their story anyway, which I love. I love that, man.
I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it in 75 seconds. So
cool. I love it. All right. So you fired yourself. What do you mean by that?
One of my employees, I had a lot of employees quit and go live their own dreams. See, because I wanted to do music and couldn't, I wanted to inspire my employees. A call center job isn't the end of the road for most people.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to be in a call center taking phone calls. That's just a journey position for most people, right? They want to get someplace else. They want to be a dancer. They want to be a musician or an artist, or they want to open their own restaurant or open their own law firm. So I started coaching people on how to make those dreams become reality. I started training them on how to quit. And the reason for that is I wanted them inspired to do a great job for me, because in our environment, we route calls based on performance. So the better they do, the more they work on their training and practice my core values that our company has. Those are all the tools that are going to allow them to quit sooner. And so I said, if you guys want to do your own thing, do well for me, and you'll be able to quit in 6 months instead of a year, right? Focus on what I'm teaching you. Focus on the principles that I'm trying to build in this whole process, and you're going to be a better person for it and be able to live your dreams sooner. One of my guys, my chief operating officer, quit and bought a golf course. So he now owns 2 golf courses. And some of my employees they knew I have a piano in my office. I play in the afternoons. They were like, Craig, it's great that we're quitting, but you should quit too, because you want to write music. And so I brought in some operations people to help run the center and slowly but surely replaced myself.
Nice. Which is the goal, right? Which should be the goal for a business. It should be a machine that generates you money while you're able to be out there experiencing the world.
Yeah, experiencing the world, or in my case, I wanted to write music. I wanted
Following your passion.
Yeah, my goal is to win a record of the year, song of the year. I want to win a Grammy, but I don't just want a Grammy. I want a song of the year Grammy.
Nice, man. You're probably gonna do it. You sound like
big goals.
Yeah, you sound like a determined guy who does what he sets his mind to. So you'll probably do it. Yeah.
There's an energy out there for your listeners that want to feel inspired. There is an energy. I don't care whether you call it God, Buddha, Muhammad, aliens, the Matrix, whatever it is. There's an energy, and we all have the opportunity to. That energy is like clay, and you have the opportunity to mold that energy to do whatever you want in your life. That's how the world is made. The energy around you is your opportunity to do whatever you want. I spend a lot of time talking to young people, like yourself, Alex. And the reason if I open my phone, I've got over 700 or, I've got maybe 1,000 millionaires contact info in my phone. I've even got some billionaires in my phone. And what's really interesting around that whole thing is I got them in my phone when they were your age, and they weren't millionaires. Yeah. But I believe because not a lot of people believed in me, I made a decision to believe in everybody. So when someone was a young man running a $5 million business, or even had just an inkling of an idea that they thought would become big, I chose to believe in them and help them when they were young. If you think about any career that you're in, if you're 20 years old or 30 or even 40, it really only takes about 10 years for you to build a network. The universe and the planet is much smaller than you think it is. If you want to be a musician, start working on music. You might not be Beyonce, but you might be able to be a good producer, or you might be able to write music for somebody else, or maybe you'll be the star on stage, but there's no reason you can't be in the music business, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to be a musician, if you want to be an artist, work your art. If you want to be a dancer, if you want to be a chef, take classes. I guarantee you within 10 years of being in that circle, even as a gamer, right? If you want to be a gamer and be a big deal on Twitch, within 10 years, you're going to be able to build up a network of contacts. And guess what? Some of those contacts, it might be you, but it might be a friend of yours who becomes a big deal, and he'll carry you with him. He'll be somebody, if you believe in him when he's a nobody, he's going to believe in you when he's a somebody.
Holy shit.
I always train people that are young, believe in everybody around you. And then 10 years from now, as those people are on their way up, they're not going to forget you. You believed in them when they were nothing. You know how many people call them now that they're somebody? Everyone. Mm-hmm. But guess what? I've got the cell phone numbers. I've got 4 cell phones for a friend of mine who's approaching the level of being a billionaire. And you know how many people have all 4 of his cell phones? Maybe his wife and his kids. Not many, right? In his circle have all 4 of his cell phones. So I've just chosen to take that path. And I think it was a blessing, for me, maybe not to have gotten into music school early on and, and to have to prove myself, because it was one of those mindsets early on that I chose to make. And you just never know which one of your friends, when you're 20 years old and you're looking at your friends, you don't know which one of them is going to become the next, who knows? Even the president of the United States had friends in high school with him.
100%.
Right? Yeah. I talk to people now, and he was like, oh, I like Freeport High School, the chain smokers. Both the guys were from Freeport, Maine. They grew up a town, two towns over from me. So I'm talking to this guy in Portland. He was, the guy from the chain smokers. It was his college roommate. He's like, I love this record. Do you mind if I send it to my buddy, from the chain smokers? Everybody knows somebody, right? So you never know when dreams are going to come true, and who you got to believe in for to be one level away from a person you speak to. So hopefully, I think that to me is one of the most inspiring things that I know, is that if you're young and you feel like you're at this dead end and you're never going to achieve your dreams, life is a lot shorter than you think it is, but it's also a lot longer And the planet is much smaller than you think it is. The circle of top gamers and the circle of top talent and the circle, if you're in that circle, you don't have to be the biggest deal on the planet to have those friends. So
yeah, that made
that's
me
where I
think.
fired myself and, decided to go out and do some work inspiring others.
Nice, nice. Yeah, thanks for being here. And that's definitely inspiring. And that made me think of a story of a quote that says, "On your way up, be nice to everyone on your way up because they're the same people that you're going to meet on the way down." Right?
Yes, only I don't believe there'll be a way down. I don't
Exactly.
think,
Yeah, 100%. That's
I
what.
don't think anybody who's successful, if they have the right principles, they might have times when they're not as successful. They might have turnarounds they're going through or
Mhm.
challenges. But if you're an authentic human who cares about others and puts others first, that is the matrix. Giving to others, whether you get anything from it or not, is the matrix, right? That's the secret of life. I always give and I don't look for anything in return. But what's funny is the less I look, the more I receive.
Yeah, that is the Matrix. Let's see. Talk more about that, man. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Matrix, yeah. I mean, look, I have my new business, Social Close. We do audits for people for free, and I build a strategy for free. It's literally $20,000 in value, and it literally costs me $3,000 at least to build, right? And the reason I do it is because I started going out and giving people those consulting days at 10 grand a day, and I'm worth it. And but when I leave, it was kind of like you meet these gringos who are trying to speak Spanish and they don't really know what they're doing. That's how most people look at marketing. But for me, I know marketing better than anything, right? I mean, I know if I'm talking to a poker player, like I'm not an expert poker player, I'm going to lose all my money if I sit down from a pro. But if a pro were to sit down next to me, I know marketing. I know marketing better than a pro knows poker. And so I just choose to give that knowledge away. And I was charging 10 grand a day. And a lot of people just, when I left, I didn't feel like they had the ability to execute. If you tried to teach me Spanish in a day, no matter how good of a teacher you are, if you left and I couldn't speak Spanish, you might feel like I wasted some money, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to have that feeling. I didn't want anybody to feel like they were spending money on something that wasn't going to benefit them in a huge way. And so what I did was I decided to, instead of flip the model. So I built this agency, Social Close, and I do this stuff for free, but 50% of the people that I give this presentation to and give the audit and the strategy to end up hiring me. And so I just wanted to give away value. And a lot of the people that don't hire me refer other people in to work with me, So I just wanted to be that guy that just focused on putting people first and my own ambitions and my own goals second. And when you do that, it's authentic, it's real, people see it, and they want to help you, right? People want to help you when you're a good person. That's just the way it is. And so I always do my best to be a good person and help others. And sometimes there ends up being a benefit out of it. Sometimes there isn't, but I don't choose the benefit. I allow my faith in the universe to point those benefits out to me, right? I look more for serendipity than I look for solutions. And so you never know where it's going to come from, right? A friend of mine, Frank McKinney, wrote a book called The Tap. And I always walk around every day and I'm waiting for the tap, right? I mean, I'm traveling to XYZ city and all of a sudden I get a phone call and he goes, yeah, I'll fly to meet you. I'm in Tampa. And I'm like, I'm coming to Tampa this weekend. And the guy's like, oh, well, then we must be destined to meet. Those things happen to me all the time because of energy. Like I said, I mold it like clay. And so whenever when I'm going somewhere, people are like, there are people there that all of a sudden start to call me. Like you would be freaked out by the alien type of stuff that happens in my world. Just amazing stuff every day. I love life because I see something that is faith-based and incontrovertible. It's so evident that it comes from the universe. There's no
100%.
other explanation. No other explanation.
So how do you make those things happen? Have you been able to like discern it and put it into a practical way that others can use?
Well, I wrote a song called "What If God Is Deaf?"
Okay.
And it's not to say that people who are praying are making a mistake, right? It's actually to support faith, that record. And it's more to say that faith is more important than religion. Someone who's religious is going to criticize others about their activities. They're going to tell you should be going to church more often.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs? Reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message, coaching, service, and podcast. Get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone. Through my own events and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my events. Become a millionaire in 1 year. Get mentored by multimillionaires and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself. If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. That seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my event. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage, all of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
But they might not be working their dream job or doing their dream life because they don't have any faith. Faith to me means you jump off the edge, not worrying about the parachute. You're not worried about the net because you have faith. And so you put forth your very best effort. When I say, what if God is deaf? I say, what if you either have to write it down and show it to him, right? So he can read it, or you have to put in the effort so God can see what you're trying to do. What if we're just a bunch of ants? What if he's up there and we're just a bunch of ants? If you're sitting on your sofa praying and he's deaf, he can't hear you. He doesn't know what you're asking for. But if you're hustling, man, if you're making those calls and you're trying to build that network and build that circle and you're doing the hustle, what if the aliens or God, like if you're just a Sims character in a video game, what if they see what you're doing and they go, oh, I see what he wants here, let me help. And it's like getting little bonus points if you're playing a video game. You're like, oh, look, there's health. So you grab health, and then you go, oh, look, I can power up here. You power up, and I'm like, all this stuff just happens if you have faith.
I love that. I love that, man. That's so refreshing because that's what's been happening to me, right? So I've been wanting to dive deeper into like this, like spiritual, into the unseen, right? Into the metaphysical, not so much the physical. Like you don't look for solutions. You look for what you said. What was the word that you used?
I don't look for solutions to my problems. I look for serendipity was the word I used.
What does that mean?
It just means I look for things that are common, that happen to me. So when I was in LA, I was walking down the street and I was in this line to get a slice of pizza. And this guy walks by and he had a Maine basketball jersey on. And I was like, dude, I said, are you from Maine? I said, I'm from Maine. And he goes, oh, I was just in Maine. Yeah, I love Maine. And he was a movie director. And I was so we started talking about the opportunity to provide music to his films for sync. And then he knew somebody in the music business, big in the music business. So he invited me to lunch the next day. But serendipity is, this is a stranger that I happen to meet in the line of a pizza place who we had value that we could give to each other. Yeah. And a lot of people might not look at that as a God-based tap or an alien-based, or like I said, I don't like to get into religion or politics, but I'm just saying there's an energy, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong. I don't think anybody's wrong. I don't think anybody's right. I think we're all kind of, it's a mystery, but there is something. And if I wouldn't have been paying attention and said, oh, I bet that's somebody I need to know because of the Maine shirt, because it was hitting me in the face that I'm supposed to know this guy, So I just asked him. And I'm telling you, when I'm in a restaurant at 2 a.m. in San Diego, I started talking to these guys from Europe and they were there for a golf thing. And I ended up introducing to a friend of mine who owns the golf course. And I believe everybody is placed around us for a reason. Right. And it's up to you to discern whether or not there's value in that. So when I'm in an elevator, I'll talk to people. And I've made more business connections in an elevator than I might have in any other place on the planet. Because I'm not afraid to turn around at the door and talk to people. And if they've got a badge on, I'll talk to them about the event they're at. Or I just love to talk to strangers because I know that there's an energy around me that I've been manipulating. And there's a really good chance that those are people that I'm supposed to know.
There's definitely an energy that since I've been looking on this metaphysical, unseen stuff, I've been trying to like understand it. There's definitely an energy that has lined up my last 10 podcasts in which the guests talk about this faith, about this sense of knowing, about the fact that the universe is working in their favor. So there's definitely an energy that has caused that because I haven't caused it.
It's happening, man. Yeah, it's happening for you. Like I said, I'd love to have you come down and speak at my business. There's an opportunity for you to continue growing and you're going to inspire. I've got, 800 employees. You're going to inspire a lot of those people to do big things. Some of them are going to do things that are so big that they're going to surpass you and I. And guess what? We're both good. We're both in their contact list, right? There's somebody who we're both going to be able to rely on later on in life to help us out.
It's not about competition. It's about collaboration.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration.
I love that, man. So I want to go back. I want to go back to hire to quit, inspire to stay. So today I got on my team meeting. I have 10 team members. I told one of them, one of my team members is literally a scientist. Like she has like a PhD in bio, I don't know what, right? And I was like, so I help people start podcasts. That's what I do. I help people build a multi-million-dollar network building podcast, right? And through that network, you're able to achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort, just like I've been able to do. I'm literally achieving goals that I thought I was going to be doing in 10 years from now, like speaking on stage. I've gotten invited to speak on 4 stages just the last 2 months. I thought I was going to be doing that in 10 years from now. And I'm doing it this year because of the people that I've been connecting, right? Like you invited me to speak, on your company of 800 or more than 800 people. And so like, that's what I help people do. I help them start a podcast so that they can build a network of people who can help them achieve bigger goals faster and with less efforts. And I told my team member, I was like, I don't want you to work with me anymore. Like, I don't want you to work with me anymore. I want you to, I want to help you, or we're here for you. We'll do it for free. I want to help you start your own podcast, interviewing the most successful scientists of the world so that you can get to where you want to go much faster. And because I've been, when I meditate, I've been getting that little nagging feeling that she should be working towards her goals. And she was like, no, yeah, I'm working on something. And as soon as I'm ready, I'll let you know. But like right now, I want to stay. Like, I'm learning a lot. I'm having a lot of fun. And, I want to stay and help you with your
she
goals.
could do both too. She could build a hybrid model where she helps you and works with you and you help her. And she starts to take 1 or 2 days a week to do podcasts. I have a kid who worked for me as he was a lawyer, and he was taking phone calls from law firms, signing people up for class action lawsuits. And I taught him how to do a podcast. He interviewed all the lawyers in Hermosillo, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And one question that I told him to ask every lawyer he interviewed was, what's the biggest hole in the legal community here in Hermosillo, Mexico? So he did enough podcasts where he determined what the hole was. Within 6 months, he hung out his own shingle. Being a lawyer, he opened his own law office, and then he called all of his friends who he did the podcast for, and he promoted them. And he said, hey, I just opened my own firm.
And I can solve that hole for you.
I specialize in the hole. Every one of the people he interviewed on the podcast referred that particular business over to his firm, and he had to hire subordinates below him in order to handle the amount of work that he got. In order for him to become a partner in a law firm in Hermosillo, Mexico, it would have taken him 12 years.
Yeah.
Instead, we did it in 6 months. And not only is he a partner, but he's the owner, right? Because I use the hired to quit methodology of looking at ways to shortcut everything in life. Even your health has a biohack, right? There's a life hack in order to get to where you want to go to. So your girl who's a scientist, I know Peter Thiel, I know Dave Asprey, I know Peter Diamandis, I know, different scientists that are opening stem cell centers who have got cures for different things that most people don't know there are cures for.
Damn.
I could certainly help her with some guests, but I could also, if she wanted a position working in a stem cell center, for example. I have friends opening one in Cabo and in Medellin and in Bali, stem cell clinics, and I'm actually helping refer the business in. And so there's all these sciences that, one of my other friends is partnering with Elon Musk. He created an anti-aging product from the male reproductive organ, which is the only organ in both men or women that doesn't age. An 80-year-old man can still get a 26-year-old girl pregnant because the reproductive organ of the male doesn't age. So imagine if you could extrapolate that technology and put it into anti-aging drugs.
Damn.
Yeah. So I have a lot of clients that I do branding and marketing for. Some of these guys are even afraid to file patents for some of the solutions they have in fear of their own life, because big pharma probably wouldn't like a lot of the solutions that they've created because it allows people to get off medication.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is one of the biggest businesses in the world, right?
Big pharma is big. Yeah. If you come up with a solution to repair the heart, which I have friends who have come up with those solutions, they can inject stem cells and repair somebody's heart, brain cells to help people with Down syndrome speak to their families. Amazing technology exists in the world to heal and cure uncurable disease. But anytime some of those things start to, like if they tried to, one of my friends, his partner filed a patent for a cure for HIV using stem cells, and he was disappeared 3 days later. So there's a lot of danger in coming up with solutions too, because everything's not quite what it seems. There is good and evil on this planet, and it's up to guys like us to protect the good, so that's what we try to do.
Yeah, that was a great insight, man. I'll definitely follow up with you, on your invite to like speak at my event, and I'll definitely follow up, on like the scientists that you already know to like help, my girl that works with, with me. That would be amazing. That would make her basically dreams come true, because that's what she wants, right? And she's inspired. She does really good work with me because she's inspired, right? Because like when I hire people, and I don't know, I did this intuitively. Like nobody told me to do this, but like my mission is to serve. That's why this podcast was born, because over a year, I was a 20-year-old, and I spent a year getting on over 60 sales calls with 30 to 45-year-olds, pitching them on coaching to help them to help them grow their businesses without sacrificing time, health, and relationships. And in that year period, I have like dozens and dozens and dozens of calls, and
You should do it in Spanish. You should do it in Spanish too for entrepreneurs here in Mexico. There aren't a lot of popular podcasts for Mexican entrepreneurs where someone like you has taken the initiative of putting something together.
I will.
I mean, wouldn't it be great a year from now when you've got Carlos Slim coming on a call with you to be interviewed?
Damn, yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, but why can't it happen?
It can. It
Absolutely.
actually will.
Huh. It will happen. That boy.
Yeah. So
you should make a list of your dream guests and put them on a piece of paper and publish it on your site and say, these are my dream guests for my podcast. Please help. And just get it out there to the universe. Write it down, get it to the universe. And
show it. Right?
I truly believe. I always do it. I think it's stupid. But look, I'm a guy who said, I want to meet the Dalai Lama. I want to go to Necker Island and hang out with Richard Branson.
And you did it.
I want to meet all the living Beatles, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, everything I've ever wanted to do, I've been able to do because I wrote it down, showed it to the universe, and then I used energy and molded it like clay to make it happen. I mean, look, Richard Branson, I snuck backstage. I went a day early. I looked at what the security team was wearing. I went to the Big and Tall store and bought the same outfit. And the next day I snuck backstage, pretended like I was security, and handed Richard Branson my business card with $20 wrapped around it and told him it was the first 20 we were going to make together. He was like, oh, brilliant, brilliant. Put it in his pocket, gave me his email. Then I emailed him and told him I was coming to Necker a year later. I got invited because my business was successful. I showed up and he remembered everything. He goes, oh, you're the guy with the $20 bill. I said, I know. I couldn't believe he kept it. He goes, first lesson on Necker. You don't get to be a billionaire without keeping people's money. He goes, if it was 20,000, 200,000 or 2 million, it was going in my pocket. He said, because I was going to use it to do good. And he goes, first lesson on Necker, don't get to be a billionaire without taking people's money. I'm like, okay, that's true.
Man, I want to listen to your song. What if God is death?
Yeah, right? It's a great song. I've got a girl singing it. It's not completely done yet. It's actually with a girl now for, she's going to record it for me. She's got a beautiful, beautiful voice.
But it makes a lot of sense, man. That's why vision boards work, because, you know, God, like I have a vision board right here behind this camera. So like God is seeing that, like, this is all I want. And like, he's literally paving the path for me to get it, for me to get there.
Absolutely.
Because I'm showing him.
I was just going to pull up the lyrics for you. I'm scrolling through my things over here. I write 3 new records every week. So, yeah, so it takes me a little bit to find the lyrics because I've got them all over the place.
Yeah.
So, but I'll find them in a second for you. Just to.
So yeah, so this podcast was founded because like for a year I was failing, right? A 20-year-old trying to sell to 30 to 40-year-olds wasn't working, and I was like, this is my purpose.
You weren't failing. You were being challenged, and you were struggling to learn the best way to execute.
Exactly, and I was like, this is my purpose. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. So like, if I can't sell, then I'm at least going to start a podcast interviewing other modern gentlemen out there, so that anyone that listens will benefit from it and will be able to become a modern gentleman themselves, even if it's, free. So that's why I started it. And, I don't know why I wanted to mention this, but because you do good, right? Like you do good without expecting anything in return. And that leads you to good stuff, right? So like, I did it just from like, out of a sense of purpose and out of a sense of wanting to contribute to the world. And it has turned out to be one of the greatest tools that I'm going to have in my life to like, achieve my goals. Right. So until now. So, yeah.
All right. So I found the lyrics. Let's see. It says, the verse is, my thoughts and prayers are going nowhere, fall on empty ears. I know it's not that he don't care. What if all that guides me is the light inside me, and that's all that he can see? I look above and ask for answers, hard to place my faith in second chances. I wonder why no one's on the other line. Tell me how to reach the other side. The hook is, what if God is deaf? If we're just praying, wasting all our precious breath, searching for answers in the air till nothing's left, begging for blessings, but he's ignoring our request. What if God is deaf? The next verse is, alone within the stone cathedral, all the painted glass and broken people. Where's the good shepherd? I put in the effort. I just can't seem to crack the code. What if God is deaf? There's no way to send up a flare in distress if every shipwrecked soul has been possessed. Begging for blessings, but he's ignoring my request. What if God is deaf? Then the bridge, maybe I'm not qualified for a miracle. Lord knows at times I've almost given up. I've had my doubts. I'm lost and found and spiritual, but I'll hold on to love when nothing's left. Then it goes back into the hook of, what if God is deaf? Does he even hear my words when I confess? That the universe leaves me wondering at best why I keep hoping when he ignores all my requests. What if God is deaf?
Damn, that's amazing. I love it, man.
Yeah, and it's not anti-religion, it's
Yeah,
faith,
no.
right?
Yeah.
It's what if all we're doing is praying and we think that that's going to answer anything for us? But the reality is it's not going to work. You got to go out and take action. You've got to create your own opportunities. You've got to allow the energy that is the universe, that the angels that are, that you're counting on to support and lift you. You've got to tell them what you want, because maybe as much as maybe they look at us and we're like, and then, you're like,
Yeah.
they're like, what the hell is he trying to? What is Alex saying? We can't understand him. And then you write your vision board out, and they go, oh, now it makes sense. I get it now. So I don't know. It's just a theory. It's just a theory, but it feels like a good theory.
It feels. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, now like I know why stuff has been working, right? I love it, man. I like it.
Yeah, and it works even better when you put it out to the universe, because you're always going to be 1 degree of separation from everybody you want on your podcast, your entire dream list. Somebody knows that person. And if you believe in the energy of the universe, somebody in your friends list already has that connection. So if you just let everybody know what your dreams are, then it'll happen faster.
Why do you think people are afraid to let everybody know what their dreams are?
I think that I try to take the approach that we still live to be 1,000, 2,000 years old, right? But we do it in cycles. So maybe there are people that are like, if you get upset with somebody, it's like getting upset with a baby for soiling their diaper. Maybe, Alex, you've been around for 800 years and your mom and dad have only been here for 1 trip around the sun. They've been around for 50 or 60 years. Maybe you're 800 years old in your soul, right? So you're much more gifted and much more knowledgeable than others, kind of like a vampire that's lived for 1,000 years, right?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of knowledge because you've been around for a long time. And it's not that you take that knowledge 100% from your past life into this life. And I don't even know if past lives are a real thing, but I just have this feeling that sometimes the people that have more faith, there's this movie that I watched. It's with Albert Brooks.
Eternals?
Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep, not Eternals. I've seen that one, but Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep, and it's called Judging Your Life. And this guy gets in a car accident and he goes to heaven, and you can eat whatever you want without gaining any weight. And you actually get in front of a judge and they determine whether or not your life was successful. And there's trains that go back to Earth where you're reborn. There's trains that go to like a whole different planet if you've done everything you were supposed to do and you've basically conquered life. And I'm like, this is the closest thing to what heaven probably is, that I've ever seen. And so I think life is meant to just take all those risks and do everything you've ever dreamed in your soul that you're supposed to do. But I think fear is the devil's tool, right? I mean, fear, if you believe in negative energy, fear is that negative energy that oppresses us sometimes and holds us back from doing what we love. What's the worst thing that could happen? If you wanted Tony Robbins on your podcast and the worst thing that happens is he says no, right? Where is the fear in calling Tony Robbins? I think most people are afraid to call Tony. Like, most people don't have the courage to try to call. But you know what that means? That means it's a given that they're going to get a no, right?
Yeah.
If you don't try, it's already a no. If you want to be a musician, but you don't try, you're never going to be a musician, right? I mean, it might not be your destiny, but if you're afraid to go after it, how many people go to American Idol every year to sing, but how many more decide not to because of fear? And they're probably better than anybody on the planet with their singing. When they sing, people just know that that's what they're born to do. But how many times do they sit there on the couch and watch American Idol and go, I wish I was doing that? They're just afraid.
Yeah.
Fear, man. Fear.
it's like fear of failure, right? Like if you have fear of failure and you let that hold you back, well, you fail by default because you're not even trying.
How many men have never told the woman they love that they love them? They've admired them and they grow up thinking, boy, if only she'd go out with me. But did they ever ask? Nope.
No.
They were afraid. Why does fear hold you back? Because if you ask, you'll at least get a no or a yes. But if you don't, it's always going to be a no.
I know why fear holds people back. You want to know?
Sure.
Because everyone has, like every single human being has the fundamental fear of not being good enough. And then if you're not good enough, then you're afraid that you won't be loved, which is why we're here, to be loved and learn how to love. And when you do something that triggers that fear of not being good enough, then what you're really afraid of is of losing love. And if you're not loved, you die.
Well, Alex, I'm here to tell you, I love you and I think you're good enough.
Thanks. I love you too, man.
I don't think people say that enough. I think when you see somebody good and you see their soul and you know they're a good person, why can't you tell them you love them, right? What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Why can't you tell them, I believe in you. I think you're going to do big things in this world. What's wrong with that, right? I do it all the time. And sometimes people say, nobody's ever said that to me before.
Crazy.
And I'm just like, I don't know, why not, man? Why not? I truly believe one-on-one, you and me, you're going to do amazing things in this world. And I'm really proud of everything you went through. And we just met, but I already know that you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I can't wait to see where you are in 20 years. I can't wait because I just know you're going to inspire so many people.
Me too, man. I just know. Thank you for that. But yeah. I got excited. And like I have it written down, like everything that I want. Let me show you. I have a Wikipedia page, like if you go and look Richard Branson on Wikipedia, you'll have a bunch of things of what he's done and all that. Well, I have my own Wikipedia page. Like if you go and look for me on the internet, I still won't appear on Wikipedia. Or I don't know, I haven't checked. I think not. But I have my own Wikipedia page and I've designed what it will say when people go and look for me in, a couple of decades from now. Here it is, Wikipedia.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to read it.
And
you know like what I call that? Everything. I call that, I coach people and I tell them to write down their 100th birthday speech. If it was going to be your 100th birthday and you're going to have a front page article in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or Mexico City's top paper, right? I don't know what that is, but what would the article say about you if it were your 100th birthday? Today, we want to write a story. If we were going to tell your biology of your 100th birthday, what did you do? Right? And just write it backwards and then live that life.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you've already done that. That's one of the tools that creates success.
And look, I'm writing my story, man. Right. So like each square means something. This is from my childhood, right? From the beginning and then up to now. And then I'm writing my story. And then I have a little square right there of me. Well, it's not me, it's Grant Cardone, but like speaking in front of hundreds of people. And, for everyone, this, because that's what I want. That's what I feel called to. I feel called to motivate, inspire, and bless thousands of people and create a world movement helping men become modern gentlemen. And that's what I want. And then you come to my podcast and you right off the bat, in the first 5 minutes of meeting, you invite me to, you speak at your company of hundreds of people. So
crazy, right?
God is probably dead and you just have to show him.
And I do know Grant. So, maybe awesome. One of his 10X events will get you involved.
I had so much fun, man. We have a couple of minutes and I need, I end every interview with asking 5 questions. The first one is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could?
To try to enjoy the journey. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
100%.
I'm always very, very goal oriented. And the worst part about it is whenever I hit a goal, I set a higher goal.
Yeah.
I probably don't enjoy success as much as I should. And I work on that. I actually have tried microdosing. I've talked to, counselors. I really am hard on myself, right? I am always hard on myself. I've done so many amazing things and I don't think I've ever, I work daily now on expressing. When I meditate, I breathe in gratitude, breathe out love, breathe in gratitude, breathe out love. And I try to be grateful because I do have one of the most blessed lives on the planet. I have beautiful children, beautiful kids who are amazing in everything they do. I get to write music. I have two wonderful ex-wives. I mean, I get along with both of them really well. I've got
Yeah.
an amazing girlfriend here from Mexico, who supports me and has done an amazing job of growth in her own world. I'm really proud of her for the growth she's had. And from a business standpoint, I'm involved in all these amazing projects that are going to change the world. These are projects that are going to reshape the future. I mean, one of the companies I own a small piece of has technologies and patents around things that most people just are going to be blown away by some of the things I'm working on. So I can't wait to get up every day and get to work. So so number one, it would be to enjoy the journey a little bit more.
That's great insight, man. And if you still need some help with that, so like, look, last year I have this big ass calendar. That's what it's called. It's by Jesse Isler, and I track my emotions there. I color it, right? Have you seen the little?
Yeah, I know
emotion?
Jesse. I know Jesse and his wife both. So I've seen his big ass calendar. It's amazing. Yeah.
So I track my emotions there. Have you seen this like little like emotional and vibrational frequency charts?
I don't think I have, but maybe.
Well, it's colored, right? So for example, sadness and depression is black, doubts, fear, frustration is purple, and it keeps on going up until it gets better. It's yellow, and then it's green, and then it's blue, right? So last year, out of every 30 days of the month, 28 days of those 38 days, I was like frustrated, overwhelmed, and doubts and fear, right? And I started working with Peter Sage. This guy is a spiritual teacher, philosopher, very amazing guy. He coached along the side of Tony Robbins for over 15 years, and now he's doing his own stuff. So I've been working with him, and since working with him, my calendar in January, out of those 30 days of the month, 20 were in like doubts, frustration, overwhelm.
That's a big improvement. That's a 30%
negative.
improvement.
February, about 15 of those days were in doubt, depression, right? Like fear and all of that. In January, February, March, I had about 4. In April, I had about like 3 snippets of little purple here and there, like 3 snippets, right? And now my entire calendar is colored green, which is positive, or blue, which is on fire, right? And that's because I've been able to learn to enjoy the journey, and I've been able to have this insight, this fundamental shift that I've been able to internalize, that the reward is not this like the goal or like the success or whatever, that I'm not going to be happy when I get there. Like I need to be happy during the process. Right? It's not about the journey.
If you wait until you get there to be happy, then you're always going to be unhappy because there'll always be something else you want to do.
Exactly. So that's what I've been able to learn. So Peter Sage might be a good contact for you. Yeah. I mean, it's been very helpful for me. So yeah. And let's see. Yeah, I was asking these questions. The second question is around mindset. What is a mindset shift that you've had that you think has contributed to your success?
I've always had a mindset of anything that's a challenge for me is more like a speed bump. I usually just roll right over it, and I've had a lot of challenges. But I think the mindset shift, one of my friends who passed away recently, and he gave me my first $3,000 to start my business. He used to talk about the 24-hour rule. And I think a mind shift change that everybody has to have is in understanding what the 24-hour rule is. Okay. The 24-hour rule means that when you have to make an important decision, that you give yourself 24 hours to really look at it from all angles. We had a client who they did not want to pay us our invoice. It was, a few $100,000. And we decided to fire them as a client. And in order to avoid, how it works in Mexico is if you fire somebody, you have to pay 3 months of severance. Mm-hmm. I was already losing a couple $100,000 because they weren't going to pay. And I knew we would go to court and we would settle it with them and we'd end up with something. But if I didn't act quickly and recognize how to help, I had to help this client set up their own call center in Hermosillo. in order to transfer all those employees over to them as direct employees, so I wouldn't have to pay another $200,000 in severance, right? And so my mindset was, I was so frustrated. I really wanted to fire the clients, and I wanted to tell them to go away. And I was angry, but I had to help them in order to avoid damaging my own business any further and to help the employees that were there. And then we sued them after they left, and we ended up collecting, something. But I would have lost a lot of money had I not done that. And I would have really hurt a lot of families had I not been patient enough and had a mindset shift that allowed me to think clearly as to the right thing to do, as opposed to the emotional thing to do. Make sense?
Yeah, makes a total sense.
The 24-hour rule is one of my favorite things to train on.
Okay, awesome. So 24-hour rule, wait 24 hours until you have to.
And examine
when you have to
every problem from all angles to make sure it's not an emotional decision.
Okay. And then look at life that like a challenge is just a speed bump. You just have to like roll over it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. The third question is mindset map clarity. So do you have any advice, tactic, or strategy to help people gain more clarity around who they are, what they want, and where they're going?
Yeah, I think it's be very detailed about what you want and be careful what you wish for.
Because it comes true.
So let's talk about writing music. I actually wrote an album. I got hired to host an event. I ended up opening for Coolio in San Francisco in front of 15,000 people. And a lot of your listeners don't know who Coolio is because he's from the 80s, but he's a rapper. You can Google him. Anyway, I opened for Coolio, and I had a record label offer me a contract. But the contract was, I wanted to be a big rock star, but when I started examining the contract, it was $250,000 advance, which meant I had to pay back all the money that they were giving me. They could have taken my record and put it on the shelf, or they could have released it. I really had no control over my future. And so be careful what you wish for, because if I would have signed that contract, I would have been on tour for a year. I wouldn't have been able to run my profitable business. I wouldn't have had time for my children. I just gotten out of a divorce, so that would have been bad for my kids growing up. I would have kind of abandoned them for a year. And so approach everything with absolute clarity, right? If I want to be a musician, understand what the sacrifice and the trade-offs are and the things that you want to do. Be prepared. If you want to be a cook or a chef or open your own restaurant, what are the trade-offs? And is it that you want to own the restaurant, or do you want to be the cook and the chef? Or what is it clearly that you want to do? As I get back to music, today I like writing music. I do enjoy being on stage, but I think, I'm not sure that that's my destiny anymore. But I do know from a marketing standpoint, I've been building tools to help people market their music, which will allow me to provide records for young up and coming cover singers who have great voices but don't know how to write their own music. And I've been building a marketing plan so I could help launch them. So at the end of the day, I've kind of figured out with clarity where I really want to be in the place of music, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just how do you have clarity? Well, write down what you think you want, and then look at the sacrifices that you will make for those things to come true. If you're willing to make those sacrifices, that trade-off, then go for it. But when you really examine it clearly, are you able to make those sacrifices? If not, add clarity around what you want to do in music, or what you want to do in art, or what you want to do in dance, or whatever your dream is in your restaurant. Make sure that it's not, hey, I want to own a restaurant. That's great. But, do you want to own part of a restaurant? Do you want to be the sole proprietor? Do you want to cook? What type of restaurant do you want to open? What type of menu have you designed? Have you done the research? Do you know what it's going to cost you? Have you done a P&L? Have you done the back work in order to determine what you can have for a payroll percentage in order to run your business efficiently? How many meals do you have to sell a week? What are you going to do for marketing and advertising? Really think through your plan for everything that you want to do and be prepared for everything. Robert Frost wrote a poem called The Road Less Taken. Make sure you have a plan based on multiple paths that might present themselves in front of you. What are you going to do? If this, then that. Make sure you are as prepared as any human being on the planet. When that happens and you get the tap and you get those faith-based opportunities, you'll be prepared for them and you'll be able to make decisions.
Yeah, I love it. The next question is, what is the habits that you have that you think has contributed to your success? Habit.
I think a habit for me is, you know, you hear so many people talk about getting up early, the early bird catches the worm, and miracle morning and all these things. I think you need to be authentically you. And for me, authentically me is I would rather work till 3, 4 in the morning and then sleep till 10. And I'm not ashamed to be a night owl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is be authentically you and determine what habits work for you. Efficiency, for example, how to be time focused. I make a list of all the things I want to do or need to do, and I do the things that I can knock out to get into. I want to get momentum on my project list. So I'll do the easiest things first because I feel like I'm task driven, not project driven.
Okay.
But a lot of people will do it the opposite. They'll say the toughest task, they're going to work their way through that first, and then they'll do the little things. For me, I want to start with a sense of accomplishment of knocking things out, develop momentum within my inner psyche. Once I've developed that momentum on these smaller projects and I dive into the big one seems to flow faster for me.
Because you're driven by achievement.
That's who I am.
Flow.
So love, again, I think the secret here is love yourself.
Yeah.
And love who you are, whether you're a night owl, whether you like to tackle small. There is no right or wrong to efficiency and work ethic. Just be you. I think that's the message.
That's amazing. And you want to know why people are like, you want to know why being authentic is so hard, man?
Because everybody feels like everybody's judging them all the time. Everybody's trying to prove themselves to others. It's
the fear.
It's a shame. I mean, yeah, fear.
That if you're you won't be good enough and you won't be loved.
Yeah.
Right? Goes back to
I've lived with that for a long time. So I certainly understand it.
Mm-hmm. So the last question is around measure. So what do you think about measuring and tracking, man?
I don't know. I've gained some weight, so I try not to measure too many things around my weight, but that was a joke. I have a data and an analytical side to my brain and a creative side.
Okay.
I think if you want to, the more success that you are aiming for, the more important it is to track your progress. It's also important for you to track progress so you can express gratitude for the success you're having. Okay. It's going to allow you to enjoy the journey more.
Look back and be like, holy shit.
If I look back where I was a year ago to 2 years ago to 3 years ago, no matter how bad things get, I am never going to be as bad as I was. You know, I mean, it's very unlikely for me to go back to, you know, when I was 22 years old and I was living in my mother-in-law's basement, hitchhiking to work. I mean, that was a tough time in my life. We had to move into my mother-in-law's basement because I didn't have money. You know, I would hitchhike an hour to work, and I would work sometimes 48 hours straight. I'd sleep under my desk because I didn't have a ride home, but I was trying to make ends meet for my family. And so, yeah. So I've dealt with some of that challenges early on. And I definitely think tracking as to what you're doing helps you grow, helps you see that growth on a daily basis. It helps you avoid the black days, as you so eloquently stated on your calendar, right? It helps you keep the blues and the greens.
Yeah. So, Craig, I've loved this episode, man. I've had a lot of fun. I was expecting it, honestly. Yeah. So yeah. And if people want to know more about you and what you got going on, and you know, they just loved what you're all about, where can they find more of you?
They can go on my OnlyFans page where I show a lot more of me than most people. No, I'm just joking.
I was like, man, I actually believed him, and I was like, holy cow, yeah.
Hold up, he's got an OnlyFans. Yeah, it's where I post all my calendar pictures. I'm basically on every social media platform. I'm Craig Handley, you know, Handley, first name Craig. And so Facebook, Craig Handley. Instagram, Craig
Your
Handley.
Facebook is funny, man.
Yeah.
I've had a lot. I went to your Facebook, this past couple of days, and the stuff you post is funny. Like I love it.
Some of
Yeah,
it, yeah, I try to post some humor along with. I've actually done stand-up comedy, so
yeah, yeah. So
I've
man,
written some funny songs that I can't even post because it hurts my entrepreneurial image, but I will someday.
yeah,
Yeah, lots of fun. But
awesome.
yeah, I'm pretty much Craig Handley everywhere. People can find me. I'm Craig at Social Clothes, Craig at all of my businesses, have me at Craig at my business name. So I'm easy to find. I think I even put my phone number in my book. I don't care. I like to
Cool,
help people. So
awesome. Thanks.
I'll
And
never
thanks.
ever think that I'm such a big deal that I should be impossible to reach.
Yeah,
Uh, I just
that's
don't want
cool.
to ever be that person.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I appreciate it, Craig, and thank you very much, man. We'll put all your info wherever this appears, and it was a pleasure. And God bless you, brother.
Yeah, I hope people share this with 10 people, not just one. You were asking to share it with one person at the beginning. Let's set a bigger goal than that. Why don't you share it with, let's share it with at
You
least
know
7 to
what?
10
Yeah,
people.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
change my introduction, and I'm gonna ask people to share with 10 people. Yeah, why
why
not?
not? Yeah, 7 to 10. 7 to 10 people.
Awesome. People
Yeah.
are probably going to be like, "Holy shit!" You know what? I'm gonna do it. Right? If I
They gotta go
say
to work, right? They need to work. I'm
share it with
telling you,
7 to 10
the-
people,
if they
right?
share it with 7 to 10 people, the energy in the universe will conspire to help them in some way. I just
Mm,
know it.
yeah. Thank you very much. I'm gonna start implementing that ASAP. Another podcast right now in 20 minutes. I'm gonna implement that there. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Craig. See you later, man.
All right, boss. Thanks.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms